Welcome back to Life and Hair. I wanted to show you Giselle in this lovely bouffant half updo. The hair is actually quite long at the back, and sometimes I do put it all up, but check out this amazing lace front and the monofilament top. It's really incredible. The caramel ribbon, this is a John Renault wig. It's called Giselle and it's in the colour caramel ribbon. But as you can see, the caramel streaks and highlights catch the light so beautifully. And it just looks so incredibly natural. I wore it out to a friend's house. We were invited to Sunday lunch. It was a late lunch, well, Sunday dinner, I suppose. We got there at 6 o'clock. And I wore it exactly like this. And I wore a dress, I think, and some heels. And felt very natural, calm. I wasn't anxious about it. I didn't need to adjust it. There was nothing about it which was uncomfortable, that needed constantly to be adjusted. It fits really nicely around my head circumference. I just pretty quickly felt like I was wearing my own, like I had my own hair. It was my own hair. And I didn't mind looking down as I was eating or listening to my friend and sort of nodding my head and, you know, replying to her, because I knew that there was nothing about the presentation of this wig which would give me any cause for concern. I do know that a lot of wig sisters get to the stage where they just will put whatever style they like on, regardless of permatease, monofilament, top or not. It ceases to matter because everybody knows that they're wearing a wig and they do it for fun. They do it tongue-in-cheek sometimes. And it doesn't really matter about the realism. And that's true. My friend and her husband, as soon as I walked in, I said, "What do you think of my Giselle?" And they said, "Oh, is that a wig? All right." And there was one small moment of discomfort for me, in that, you know, my friend smiled and said, "Oh, it's really nice," but I could just see a little thought flitting through her head as to, well, you know, why are you choosing to wear this? Which is really strange, because this particular friend, who is actually an old school friend, so I've known her since I was 8, prides herself on wearing very alternative clothing. She's got a very alternative style. And I remember standing there thinking, well, you know, you've got the confidence and you give yourself the permission to wear whatever style you like. I don't see why I should feel uncomfortable about wearing alternative hairstyles and expressing myself through alternative hairstyles. So maybe one day we will have that conversation. I wanted to come on very quickly and talk about a phase that I seem to be going through in my life, particularly in light with having had the vertical sleeve gastrectomy. And I know that a lot of women are considering having this procedure. And apart from the risks of the operation itself, the risks of what you're going to be left with afterwards, any complications, etc., any medication, say, that you have to start, I felt that it was important for me to document why I had it and what other areas in my life I'm experiencing can I call it a renaissance? Can I call it somewhat of a rebirth? Many years ago, I used to watch an amazing YouTube channel. Now, I really can't remember exactly what it was called, but there was a playlist in it, there was a section in it where this incredible woman used to call it Nighttime with Dara. And that was her name, Dara. And I thought, wow. So not only did she do all of those daytime stuff, she was into raw food recipes, green smoothies and juices, etc. But she would also hunker down in the night and just share her feelings. And this is something that I would like to include in my YouTube channel. And you know, this YouTube channel, not only is it an opportunity for me to share with you and to build connections with men and women in the world. I say men, well, it's really women. To share connections with women out there that I will never have an opportunity otherwise to connect with. But it's also a legacy for my own 2 daughters, so that they can have insight into my thought processes at a time when they are interested. They're very busy living their own lives at the moment, I can assure you. I decided to have this vertical sleeve gastrectomy. And I also decided that I was going to redecorate the house, starting with the sitting room. Now, I've redecorated the bedroom, I've redecorated the landing and the stairs, and I had this real yen to, at the time, be able to come back from work. At the time, I was working full-time and leaving the house every day rather than working from home. I had this image in my mind of having a home that was a sanctuary. Not anything particularly that I've spent loads of money on, but something that I've put effort into to create a particular feel that I was after. I wanted to walk into a warm, clean, well-decorated, welcoming environment. I wanted to be able to have somewhere out of sight to put my bags, my keys, my handbag, and then to be able to go, get out of my work clothes, go and have a shower, put on some really nice loungewear, comfortable and warm, and go downstairs and be able to enjoy my sitting room. Excuse the cats. The cats, you know, it's a saga, basically, that continues. I wanted to be able to use my beautiful wood burner. I've got a very lovely large wood burner that I burn wood. I burn wood in every night. I wanted to replace the furniture that I had, which is really quite old. I picked it up on FreeCycle probably about 5 years ago, and really it's on its last legs. It's not comfortable. The sitting room isn't comfortable. All the furniture is kind of mismatched. There's no art on the wall, and there's nothing that really reflects my personality or my interests in that room. I asked my husband if he would repaint it and to build a dresser in one of the alcoves. I didn't really want to go with anything pale. I didn't really want to have pale walls, but I did want something sort of womb-like, something very cozy, where you feel quite enclosed in that room when you're in there, so that you can really leave the world behind and just focus on the fire, whatever projects I'm doing. You know, I like to knit, etc. FaceTiming friends, reading a book, maybe doing some hand sewing. Those are the things that really bring me joy. And of course, you know, just having my laptop next to me, watching Downton Abbey, watching Outlander, watching YouTube, watching wig reviews. This is the world that I live in, that I'm loving. And I wanted my sitting room to reflect that cozy feeling that sanctuary feeling that I was yearning for. I wanted my external environment to reflect what was happening to me inside. So initially I wanted really dark walls. I would have been quite happy with very grey, maybe even charcoal walls. But then I thought, you know, maybe that's a little bit too much. I didn't want to take that much of a big risk. So I went with a buff grey. It's a beige grey, you could say. I will put up, you know, images alongside the video. And because it's slightly darker than most people would have their walls, I decided with lighter furniture. I've chosen a sofa and armchairs that have got a very pale covering. It's kind of a cream, really. And in an effort to not get everything too dirty, I'm certainly going to have throws over that furniture. I'm going to have sheepskins, and I'm going to really play up texture because I want quite a neutral palette as far as colours go. I really wanted to bring the room to life and add interest through texture. So I wanted the velvet cushions, the duck-filled cushions, the sheepskin, the throws. I wanted interest in the rugs that I was using. The furniture, apart from what we'd be sitting on, is going to be basically black metal, but with some glass to add some reflection. And I wanted to use candles and plants and other things that reflect my particular interests. I'm interested in all things esoteric, spirituality, all the feels, art, creativity. That's really me, and I wanted to bring that very much into my surroundings, and I hope that I can take you on that journey to start putting the jigsaw puzzle of my sitting room together. I'm not very clever when it comes to decorating. It takes me a really long time to decide what it is that I really want. And I do it piece by piece, you know, very much like piecing it all together to make the big picture. Some people are very good, say, of having a mood board. I have got Pinterest, and I have used Pinterest to gather inspiration. But I'm not very good at planning on paper. I try and keep everything in my mind and sort of keep adding to it over time. There's lots of resources online as to how to decorate, how to achieve a certain look, how to do hygge, to use candles and coziness, etc., etc. But really, what I wanted to address is why to. Why bother? Why bother making your home nice? Why bother responding to this desire of wanting a clean, fragrant, thoughtfully put together home? I'm very much focusing on the sitting room, so I'm adding in comfort, warmth, security, safety. Those are the things that I really yearn for, and it's time that I gave myself some of those things so that I can enjoy this next 10 years before it's time to reevaluate, perhaps. Who knows what's coming in the future? So really my why to is I finally feel that I'm worth it. It's worth my while now to invest the money, the effort and the time to give myself the life that I've always really wanted, but never somehow had the emotional or mental space to create. I started off with this bedroom. I needed somewhere where I could retire to. But now I'm pushing out further and further out into the house, entering now the very public space, that I can not only provide this for myself, but also for my friends and for my daughters when they visit, and for my husband. I want to be able to spread this vibe around. I noticed that if your home is very lovely, very comfortable and welcoming, friends find it very easy to come and spend time. It's a lovely place to be, and who doesn't want to be in a lovely place? I really want to focus on maintaining that loveliness and that beauty, and extending it to those people that I care about. This is a form of self-expression that I've finally given myself permission to do. Likewise with the vertical sleeve gastrectomy that I had on the 25th of September. I've wanted to be slim for, my goodness, how many years. And I hope that I can show some photos. I'll try and find some and put some up. But over several years now, at least 7 years, I have just been gaining weight more and more every year. And I knew that that was something that was just going to continue. And I didn't want that future for myself. I knew that there'd be risks, but I was willing to take the risk. I was willing to take the risk because there were huge risks anyway in not doing anything. And my goodness, the risk has really paid off. I mean, I'm looking at myself here in my viewfinder. My shoulders are more narrow than they were. I've got a neck. I can see proper cheeks. You know, my fingers aren't sausage fingers at the moment. You know, I can start to enjoy rings and jewellery. In fact, I'm waiting for an Amazon delivery now. I've bought some hoop earrings and a lovely heart necklace. Gosh, there's this necklace that I've got my eye on, but it's several. It's a lot of money, you know. So I've decided that I'm just going to save money every month, and maybe in a year, this time next year, I'll buy it for myself. What's the point in sacrificing myself? I would have been getting dowdier and homelier and frumpier, and have had to forego my love of clothes and style, even my dressmaking. You know, I can't remember the last time I got my sewing machine out. I think actually it was last summer. I made myself some stretchy skirts because, quite frankly, that's pretty much all I could get into. And I didn't want to start buying the larger sizes. I didn't want to keep going in that direction. But I really do appreciate the body positivity movement. But it's not something that I wanted to invest in. I wanted to invest in going in the opposite direction. And each must make their own choices for themselves. Well, so yes, I've entered a phase in my life where my exteriors are now starting to manifest those things that I really that I had in my imagination, that I was putting together that image in my imagination and living that image inside my mind and in my emotions. Often I would write about it even. And now I'm starting to see results in the exterior world that I live in. And this is just the beginning. I feel that there is a large cycle that has turned, a wheel that has turned, that is going to bring more and more changes to my life. How those changes are going to sit with those external changes that are happening in society is anybody's guess. So in the way I see it, it's all the more reason to keep going, just to be able to live through those fantasies that I had harboured for so long. Thank you for listening to me. I really do appreciate being able to share these very deep, private thoughts that I've been thinking about for a long time, and I would really love it if you could subscribe. And I'll speak to you soon.